Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video Sasha and Robert. Take a DNA test. Robert learns he may have a daughter, and Laura is told there is a complication with Lulu's upcoming surgery. Today on General Hospital, Brooklyn and Chase learn Violet is moving to Seattle with Finn. Alexis takes Christina and Molly to tasks for their feud, and Holly tells her story to Maxie and Felicia. Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within this story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. General Hospital Preview. Yup, it's the moment Sam fans have been dreading. Lucky wakes up and walks downstairs at Laura's place. He finds Liz there and asks if he's in the right apartment. Liz fills him in on the news about Sam and Lulu, and that the surgeries are scheduled. Lucky sits down and says that for the past few days, all he's been able to think about is how his choices could cost Lulu her life. Liz tells Lucky there was no way he could predict this would happen. Working at the hospital, she's learned that days of sadness and despair are part of life. However, life can be great too, and today is a good day, so he should appreciate it. Lucky says she's right, and he thanks her for stopping by with the update. Liz says he's really not the reason he's here. Ace cries over the baby monitor, and she says today she's a babysitter. Liz brings Ace down, and he plays as Lucky, and Liz talk. Liz says Ace reminds him of Aiden at this age. She says Aiden loved to bop to music and sing, which he got from his father. Later, the next babysitter arrives, and Liz has to go to work. She encourages Lucky to talk to their son about who he is now, and even music. Lucky says he'll see her at the hospital. He just needs to call a rideshare. Liz offers him a ride and says he can serenade her like old times. More. Behold the Grey's Anatomy cast then and now. In her room at the Quartermain mansion, Chase and Brooklyn let Violet know that her dad is getting out of rehab, and she'll be moving back home with him. She jumps into Chase's arms and hugs him. She asks when she moves in. He explains soon, but her dad got a job in Seattle, so she'll be moving there, and they are arranging everything now. She is thrilled because it means a new school and no Garth. Brooklyn, in tears, needs a moment and rushes out of the room. As Chase helps Violet pack, Violet learns Seattle is far away, but Chase says they'll visit. She's going to miss them. However, she thinks he and Brooklyn will be okay, as they'll have their own baby soon. She wants him to give her 2 favorite stuffed animals to their baby. Chase suggests he and Brooklyn keep one, and she keeps the other, and that way, they'll always feel at home in both places. Gio shows up with a suitcase and takes over, helping Violet pack, so Chase can check on Brooklyn. Gio asks Violet about moving to Seattle. She's glad to be with her dad, but is nervous about changing schools. Gio understands, and he has changed schools a lot in his life, so he gives her some tips on adjusting. In the living room, Ned and Lois talk about Finn and Violet moving to Seattle. Ned quickly notices Lois has ditched the new accent and reverted to her true one. Lois explained she'll still use Ms. Finch's teachings in the proper settings. They both can't believe Finn is leaving and discuss how they'll miss Violet. Brooklyn walks into the living room in tears. Lois immediately senses this is about Violet. Brooklyn cries to her parents, saying that she knows Violet will be happy with her dad, and she's happy for her. But she started to think of herself as a daughter, as she did with Bailey Lou, and she's not ready to give up that feeling again. Ned tells her it's only natural to feel that way. Brooklyn says she has to hold it together for Chase, at least until Violet is gone. Chase appears and says she doesn't have to hold it together for him, and he feels the same way. They embrace. Brooklyn doesn't want to break down in front of Violet, but knows Violet belongs with her dad. She knows she's so happy to be going back to him. Lois excuses herself, and Ned tells Brooklyn that they'll all be sad to see Violet go as she's family. Brooklyn freaks out, as they haven't told Tracy. Brooklyn calls Tracy to tell her that Violet is going home to be with Finn. Back in Violet's room, she and Gio finish packing her suitcase. Violet's expression finally turns a bit sad. Gio knows goodbyes are hard, but reminds her that she'll be with her dad, and that's the most important thing. Lois stands in the doorway and listens. Sam gathers her mother and sisters at Alex's house. She reveals the news she is going to be Lulu's donor. Christina wasn't expecting this and thought this was going to be about Rick. Molly asks what happened with her father, and Christina explains she found Rick and Ava having dinner like nothing ever happened. Molly wants details and soon realizes Christina lost it in a crowded restaurant and has just helped Ava's defense. Christina states that for once, Molly's dad is the villain, not hers. Molly tells her that she all but handed her father evidence that Ava is not at fault. Christina and her explosive temper are. Sam tries to stop them from fighting, but also refuses to choose sides in their battle. Sam yells at her sisters that she has enough going on and doesn't need this. She has to drop her kids off at the Quartermains and go to the hospital. She storms out, and Alexis asks her other daughters if they are proud of themselves. Alexis says they should be helping one another grieve and heal over their loss, but instead, they are choosing to burn this family down. Tracy sits by Lulu's bed in the hospital and knows this has been a wild ride. As Laura appears in the doorway and looks on, Tracy promises Lulu that she is going to be just fine. They step out to the hall, and Laura thanks Tracy for taking care of Ace for so long. Tracy says her grandson is a terror, and they have to repaint the nursery walls because of him. However, she's covering the cost, which Laura calls generous. She knows this isn't the first time Tracy has cared for her family, and she took care of Lulu when she couldn't. Laura says she'll always be grateful to her for stepping up for Lulu. Tracy admits she wasn't ready to be thrust into the stepmother role, and Lulu was so like her dad back then. Tracy says she was selfish, reckless, and inconsiderate, but she was also just as glorious as Luke. She says caring for Lulu was a privilege. Tracy also says Lulu always knew her mom would return to her one day. Laura feels that's why she knows Lulu will come back to her. Terry interrupts to talk with Laura about the surgery. In private, Terry informs Laura they've just learned of a complication regarding Lulu's surgery. Elsewhere, Lucas meets Isaiah and introduces himself as Lucky's cousin. He also says the whole hospital is talking about how he saved his cousin Lulu, and they both know that the ventilator shouldn't have failed. Isaiah fills him in on what happened, and Lucas ponders someone turned the ventilator on purpose. Isaiah asks who would do that, and who'd know how. Lucas says he'd say go to the usual suspects, but the town is infested with them. Isaiah wonders if he should be talking to the police. Lucas notes they don't have any evidence yet. Isaiah relays that Dr. Robinson is having the ventilator examined, so they may soon have that evidence. He has to get to this PT session, and Lucas thanks Isaiah for what he did. Holly shows up at Maxie's, where Felicia answers the door. Holly was hoping to find Mac. Felicia explains he's out. Holly needs his help, and says she's nearly gone to the grave while keeping a secret from her daughter. Maxie appears and asks, "What daughter?" They sit down, and Felicia can't believe Holly never told her she had a daughter. Holly says it's been painful keeping this secret, and they happen to know her daughter, as it's Sasha. Maxie says Sasha has never mentioned this before. Holly explains Sasha would rather she wasn't her mother. Holly says she realized when she got pregnant again that she couldn't abandon another child, not after the pain that occurred with Ethan. However, she was not able to raise the child on her own, so she let her mother raise Sasha. She visited when she could. Maxie interjects, "In between scams." Holly admits she wasn't a great mother, but she did teach Sasha everything she knew. She says Sasha was a natural at the con. Holly explains when Sasha turned 12, she took her on trips with her across Europe, and she tried to shower her with all the love and affection she could. However, Sasha never wanted anything to do with her. Felicia notes she hasn't mentioned who Sasha's father is. Holly admits she thought Sasha's father was dead, but when it turned out he wasn't, she couldn't show up at his door with the news. Felicia has an idea who they are talking about, and she hopes she's wrong for Sasha's sake. Holly tells them it's Robert, which makes Sasha and Cody first cousins. Maxie doesn't believe it and brings up the DNA test that was done, the one in which Sasha swapped her sample out for Cody's. Felicia gets where she's going, but the test was only a paternity test, and it was a yes or no answer about paternity. It was not a genetic percentage likeness test. Holly was hoping Mac would talk to Robert, but Felicia tells her that she must be the one to do that. Holly agrees and heads out, as Felicia warns she'll follow up with Robert in an hour. More. The Holly twist no one saw coming. Alone, Maxie thanks Felicia for being here for her. Maxie knows there was a time she wasn't, and she gave her a hard time for that. Felicia says she deserved it. Maxie says, maybe then, but not now. She wonders if Holly and Sasha will find their way back to one another. Felicia hopes so. Sasha confronts Robert in his office and tells him, "We need to get one thing straight. You are not my father." Robert is confused, and Sasha explains that Holly is her mother, and she has never mentioned who her father was before. Then again, her mother is a known liar. Robert explains he and Holly were married, and there were times both thought the other was dead. He is confused as to why Sasha has never spoken up the last 2 times Holly has been in Port Charles. Sasha states it's because she wants nothing to do with her mother and needs his help proving she's lying about this. Robert asks why she'd lie. Sasha explains her mother only told her about him now because she and Cody Bell are involved. Sasha was hoping to do a DNA test, and Robert says he'll go to General Hospital this afternoon to give a sample. Holly worries her resourceful mother will tamper with the evidence. Robert says they'll use the WSB lab and calls up Brennan. The samples are sent off, and Sasha and Robert talk about Holly. Sasha admits of all the men her mother could claim was her father, she's glad it's him. He says the feeling is mutual. Sasha tells him not to get too attached, as the results aren't in yet. She heads out of his office. Sasha returns to work at the Quartermains. Maxie appears and tells her that she thought they were friends. Sasha realizes Holly has told her that she's her mother. Holly goes to Robert's office to speak to him about a personal matter. Holly doesn't know how to say this. Robert says, "How about, Robert, you have a daughter?" Next on General Hospital, Violet says goodbye to Tracy. Sasha tells Maxie she won't let her mother take Cody from her, and Lucky thinks he has a way to improve Lulu's odds.